7 News exclusive, a look into Kohlhepp's childhood. Not only is he charged with those superbike murders, as you know, he is charged with kidnapping a local woman. She was found chained up inside a storage container. He is also the only suspect after 3 bodies were found on his property. Tonight, another 7 News exclusive, a look into Kohlhepp's childhood. Not only is he charged with those superbike murders, as you know, he is charged with kidnapping a local woman. She was found chained up inside a storage container. He is also the only suspect after 3 bodies were found on his property in Woodruff. And 7 News anchor Amy Wood spoke to his mother in a late interview last night. And Amy, how did you meet up with her?
Well, I actually went by her house and we had a conversation off camera a couple of days ago and agreed to do this interview. She's telling me that she had no clue that her son was capable of any of this until he confessed to her.
I had to get rid of the anger, and nothing I did seemed to help.
Todd Kohlhepp's mom, Reggie Tagg, says she noticed the anger and sensitivity to being hurt early.
He'd throw sand, and when he wanted something, he would push him down and go get it.
Kohlhepp's mom says he used scissors on a school bus to get back at a girl who made him mad.
He'd stabbed her in the leg. Not much. I mean, it didn't go deep.
When Todd Kohlhepp wanted a gerbil, he killed his goldfish.
I just let him have it about Cloroxing the goldfish. I said, what made you think you could do that?
What did he say?
He just looked at me. He said, I didn't want it anymore.
Reggie Tagg will never forget the day Kohlhepp's step-siblings were picked up from school and he was not.
He was hurt. He says, they didn't want me.
Do you think that was the first time he was deeply hurt?
Close to it.
She says there were many attempts at counseling. You guys had a pretty contentious relationship.
It was a contentious relationship because of everything that was going on around us.
As Kohlhepp hit his teen years, his mom says his father, missing since her son was 2 months old, showed up.
The doorbell rings, and it's his biological father.
Kohlhepp wanted to move west with his dad. Trying to avoid that, Reggie Tagg bought her son new furniture.
He took a claw hammer to all his furniture and tore it up.
The new furniture?
Mm-hmm.
Did he threaten to kill you?
Yeah. He was tall enough and big enough that I wasn't going to take a chance. So I locked him in his bedroom at night when he went to sleep, and I locked me in my bedroom.
Reggie gave in and let her son live out west for a school year with his dad.
And he left Todd alone for 3 days. You can't do that with Todd.
Kohlhepp raped a 14-year-old girl.
He had a crush on her, and he wanted her to be his girlfriend. And Todd went down there and got her and brought her home. And
at gunpoint?
Yes, he did.
Tried as an adult, Kohlhepp spent 15 years in this Arizona prison. Here you see Kohlhepp when he returned to South Carolina.
He's pretty much grown up, and maybe he could do right. Seemed like most of that anger had dissipated out.
Kohlhepp, back in South Carolina just 2 years before the superbike murders. I mean, are you questioning yourself?
Every day of my life. I don't know how it could have been changed. I took him everywhere I knew to take him. God. My heart absolutely goes out to those people. And I feel such shame. I feel so ashamed that my son hurt them.
This mom's dream for her boy to straighten out his life, now a complete serial killer nightmare.
It's a title they put to what he's done, and I don't. I don't want that to be his final title.
They did mail me, after about 3 or 4 years, they mailed me a flyer Yeah.
They had made a flyer up of known vehicles, of 3 vehicles that were seen in the area. None of the vehicles were mine.
Okay.
They had a picture of a guy on there that did not look like me. And, of course, they asked, you may know something of the case. If you know of anything, please call us. I can tell you that flyer went straight in the trash can. Mm-hmm. I did not keep it as a souvenir. Was not proud of it. I threw it in the trash can and went on with my day.
So, Todd, you get away with that murder for 13 years. You attend college. You start Todd Kohlhepp and Associates real estate company. You get your pilot license and you're flying planes. And things are going well for you. In fact, very well. I mean, you buy a huge property with a nice house, and things seem to be going well. You're a decent-looking guy. You've got women in your life. And how does it get to where you end up killing the Coxies? You buy your property in 2014, 100 acres. You got it fenced. It cost probably $400,000 with the fence and everything. And but then things start spinning around, and you end up taking 2 people's lives, the Coxies. How does this happen?
The Coxies, I had been driving down the street on the way to get my mail at one of my post office boxes, and I saw Megan Coxie on the side of the road, panhandling, Blackstock and Reeville Road, right there by the I-26 exit. So I saw her standing there panhandling. I'm going, okay, cute girl. I had a whole bunch of rental properties, and I don't clean houses. That's not my job.
Okay.
I'm always looking for workers, people who want to do cleaning, who want to do clean-outs, repair work, mowing yards. I hire people all over the place. Okay. The bill, I don't own the properties. I manage them. So I just pass the bill on to the owners. It doesn't cost me anything. I saw a girl on the side of the road panhandling for money, and I went, great. I'll give a girl a job. Give me some good karma. She's kind of cute. Might get a little bit of play here. You never know. It's happened before. At the same time, at the very least, I don't have to clean some rentals. So there's really no loss. I pulled up beside her, rolled the window down, and informed her, look, I'm a real estate broker. Here's my business card. If you want some real work, not trying to make a pass at you, not trying to play games. If you want some real work, here's my card. I need some rentals cleaned. She got all excited and took my card. Later on, I went ahead and left. Later that night, she called the number, and we talked about I needed 3 rentals. So I'm not going to talk to you on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. Not for long. Anyhow, there's cars behind me. Agreed to meet her at a parking lot across from where she lived. She didn't have a car. And there was a restaurant with one of my agents owned the restaurant across from where she lived. And there was a parking lot where a grocery store had gone out of business. So she met me over there. We talked, told her what I wanted. I wanted 3 places cleaned. This is what I want. Mm-hmm. She informed me that could she bring her boyfriend? I told her, I don't care who you bring. Understand that I only pay per job. I don't pay per person. I don't pay per hour. I like piecework. I'm going to give you a fixed value, and how long it takes you to do it is on you. But $450 for a day. I needed 3 rentals cleaned, $150 each. You know, bathrooms, kitchen. Just make it decent when people first see it. Nothing sticky. You know, the floor in the kitchen, nothing sticky. Make sure the microwave and the fridge are clean. Not a problem. I told him, I said, I got all the cleaning supplies, and I don't mind driving you out there since you don't have a car. If you do a good job, I got other ones you can do. But right now I got 3 that need to be done before the first of the year so I can get them re-rented. She agreed, and then all of a sudden she disappeared.
Okay.
I dropped them off. That was it. Figured we would contact the next day or so and get them on out there to go clean. Never heard from them. Come to find out, they both went to jail. Their baby tested positive for heroin. He went to jail. I didn't know what he looked like. I later on saw her face on the Go Upstate website of mugshots and went, I'll be damned. Well, I didn't know the last names were different. I had no idea who he was. I just knew that she was on there.
So how did they end up?
All week, and I'm thinking,
How did they end up at your house, Todd?
I'm getting to that.
Yeah, how did they get there?
Well, they were never at my house.
Okay.
What had happened is they finally they got out of jail on Friday. And then she texted me, asked me if the job was still available. About an hour later, I was kind of pissed off because I had been delayed a whole week trying to figure out where the hell these people had been. Wasn't real happy about it.
All right, we're back. We're back, and we're back recording. So,
okay, so I picked them. I went ahead and agreed to meet them that morning, Saturday morning. Agreed to pick them up. I had kept all of my cleaning supplies. Every time I clean a house or every time I sell a house, I have to go through the house at the end.
right.
Every time people leave vacuum cleaners, cleaning supplies, all kinds of stuff behind. I take all that. I take the vacuum cleaners. I take all the cleaning supplies. I take all that so that everything's been packed up and I put it in one of my buildings. And that way, for my rentals or anybody we need to have for cleaning supplies, when I say have clean-outs done, I'll go ahead and give them the cleaning supplies to do it. It didn't cost me anything, and I went ahead. But if I had known they were going to be around, I would have already gone to my land and picked them up.
Okay.
But since I lost them for a week, I left everything out the land and went, well, shit. I'm not going to drive all the way one way, just drive enough and then come back. So what I did is I told myself, I'll pick you up about 11 o'clock. I'll pick you up. We got to drive out to my land, which is about 8 miles away, pick up all the supplies. Then I can go right down Highway 101, get right on 85, and go right where we had to go. My first stop was Bowling Springs. I had a bunch of homes out there that I needed to get cleaned, 1 and then 2 Bowling Springs. So not a problem. We'll just go that route. Pick them up, took them out to my land. We get to my storage building, and we are going through. I have shelves on both sides, and there are guns all over that building. Okay, there's in circle holsters underneath tables. There was a Glock 22. There's a Glock 22, which is a 40 cal with a suppressor. That was my shotgun. That just sat on top of a stainless steel shelf, like those little racks, like for restaurants. I had those lining the wall. Well, I had this pistol sat on a shelf with just a towel over it. There's a Brennan 92 down in a filing cabinet with a suppressor. There's guns everywhere. I've got a lot of. My gun has a gun. Okay, I've got a lot of guns, and they're everywhere. I don't like being trapped, and I sure didn't want to have a building where all of a sudden you've got a bunch of rednecks out there. I don't know what's out there. I've got a lot of money. I'm not going to have someone all of a sudden walk in behind me and thinking that all of a sudden, one guy out in the woods by himself and all this money sitting here. Wrong guy to walk up on because I'm going to kill you. I had retired. I had stopped all killing. When I met my girlfriend and her kid, I decided I wanted to be a daddy. I didn't know how to do it, had no clue, but I was going to learn. And I stopped all the killing while I was around her and the kid.
Okay.
Knocked it off, let things go, walk away. The day that I took the Coxes out to my land, we get out there, we're moving stuff, we're moving supplies to the SUV. And Johnny looks, he's got these humongous eyes. He looked like he was on something. I don't do drugs. I don't like drugs. I can't stand drug dealers. Okay? He was on something. Big bug-eyed, wired. The guy was tweaking on something. So I'm getting the supplies. I'm keeping my eye on him because he does not look right. And Megan goes over to the bush hog, and she stands on top of the bush hog over by my tractor. She stands on top of it. I'm getting supplies. I got my back to Johnny, and all of a sudden I hear, "Now, Johnny." Now, later on, I wasn't sure if she said now or no, so I asked her, and she confirmed hours later that they had actually planned this and that the word was now. She was honest about it, but I wasn't entirely sure because of what happened. That's why I had to ask her later on. But I turned around, and when I turned around, Johnny's coming at me. He's about 12 feet away, and he's coming at me with this little pocket knife, like a little hunting knife, the little folder, kind of like pot metal, the kind of crap you buy like at a flea market. like a black and white zebra print handle. I mean, the dude's coming at me with a knife. I reach over under the towel, grab the Glock, and I put two 180 grain Federal Hydroshocks in his chest. He drops. There's no argument. There's no warning. I don't say freeze. I'm not a cop. I put 2 rounds in his chest. He drops. Could not go to the outside towards the door. She stays on top of the bush hog. So I went between them and then got towards the door to block anybody from leaving, because I don't know what the hell was going on, but he had just pulled a knife. And then I went ahead and shot a third time through his back, because if I have to question if you're dead, ammo's cheap. I'm not. So if I have to question if you're dead, I'm just going to send another bullet into you, and that'll determine it. We're not going to have this Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, you stand back up nonsense. If I think you're still moving, I'm just going to shoot you again. If that doesn't work, there's a whole magazine here. We can keep doing this dance. Made sure he was down. Went towards her. She's standing on top of the bush hog. She hadn't moved. She's freaking out, but she's just standing there. I put my hand up. And I'm pointing the gun at her, and she looks at me and goes, "Please don't rape me. Please don't hurt me." And I calmly told her, I says, "Ma'am, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to rape you. I just don't know what the hell y'all are doing. I need you to listen to me very carefully, and everything will be fine. I need you to come over here and lay down and put your hands out and cross your ankles. Cross your ankles and put your hands straight out. If you run, I will shoot you." She complied, went to the floor where I want her, laid down. The tool chest next to her had handcuffs in it. I got the handcuffs, handcuffed her up, patted her down, and then I went to check on him. He was already dead, and I patted him down because I wanted to make sure. What I was worried about with him getting out of jail is that he had a GPS tracker on him, like around his ankle. He did not, but I did not know that. So made sure he didn't have a tracker. Then I went over and sat with her for a while, sat down with her and patted her to make sure all of him was done. I was like, what in the hell? Try to calm down with, okay, this is not what I expected for a Saturday morning. Really wasn't freaking out, just kind of like, why are you robbing me? Why are you trying to hurt me when I'm trying to give you cash for work?
Right.
I mean, I started to get pissed off about it because I'm trying to pay you for a legit job. I'm not doing anything to you. You just happen to see me pull up in a $90,000 BMW, and you thought, well, I like your car. I want your car. I want your money. Well, you can't have it.
How long after?
Do what I did. Go earn it.
How long after that, Todd, did Megan die? How many hours, days?
6 days later, happened on the 19th.
Yep.
And I shot her about 2 o'clock on Christmas. I shot her about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas, on the 25th.
So what did you do with her those 6 days?
I had taken. I put the cuffs on her. She had the cuffs. Pat her down, searched her. She had nothing else on her. I was worried about weapons, GPS, phones, all that. Took the phone away from her and put the phone down. And then I put her in my shipping container in the very back of the building. Had put her in the container. It was not designed for a dungeon. I mean, I had racks and racks of ammunition and guns, but it was outside of her reach. Okay. I had originally just handcuffed her in the front of a shipping container. Are these little in the corner? Are these little rings, like little for tie downs? And I originally handcuffed her to a ring. Later on, I ran a chain from the ring to her ankle, so she couldn't go free roaming around the whole building, because there's a Barrett 50 cal in there. There's mini submachine guns. There's 200,000 rounds of ammunition. This is not a room you want somebody roaming around in.
So you had a woman in the shipping. You had Megan in the shipping container before you had Kayla, which is interesting. I never knew that. Yes.
Had her in there. There was no sex going on. There was nothing that went on for any of the time that she was there. I would walk her down the other building. I'd like to get there, put her in the building, went and got the tractor, dug a grave right outside the building, and I buried Johnny in the grave and then just pushed the dirt back on top. Then I went back to talk to Megan. By the next day, went up the street, got her some food, got her some cigarettes, honey buns, Little Caesars pizza, Dr. Pepper. That's what she wanted. I went and got it for her. And I left her in the building by herself, left her alone. The very next day, that whole week, the weather went to trash. Rain, sleet. It got really bad that year during Christmas time. Trying to figure out what to do with her and had really no idea. Can't keep you, don't want you, can't turn you loose. I mean, I just shot your boyfriend, and once again, here I am, an ex-felon with a Class 3 weapon, surrounded by a bunch of other Class 3 weapons. There's no way I can explain this to law enforcement ever of why I have these guns and what is going on here. So I can't just let her. She did get away one time. I did not realize I had the handcuffs too loose. And when I was walking her back to the building, she looks up at me, and all of a sudden slips her hand out of the handcuff and ran. Well, instead of going over to the building, I had a suppressed 308 where I could have just shot her in the back. I mean, it's 400 yards from that building to the front fence.
Okay.
There's nowhere for you to go that I can't hit you.
Oh, we lost him again.
This is a Global Tel Link prepaid call from
Todd.
an inmate at South Carolina Department of Corrections.
Okay, that was a 1 hour timeout there. I had to reset the phone. So I've got Megan. She slips the handcuffs out and runs for the front fence.
Okay.
I had just had brand new gravel poured in that driveway. She's trying to run on this fresh gravel, and instead of me going ahead and just walking to the building, I had a suppressed 308 Remington 700 with a night vision scope on it, PBS 4 if you care. But I went ahead, instead of going ahead and it was already dark, and instead of me going ahead and grabbing the rifle and just shooting her, I decided to go ahead and take off and run after her. I slipped, fell on the gravel, tore myself all up, got right back up again, got right back into chasing her, and then she slips, which is when I caught her again. So I caught her, put the handcuffs back on her, made sure they were tight, didn't do anything to her. She's freaking out that I'm going to beat her up or do something to her. I'm not going to do anything to you, but don't run again. That's not going to happen again. Trust me. So took her back to the building, handcuffed her, and I left. Christmas Day comes. I told her before Christmas. I came up with a bright idea that wasn't so bright, but I did not want to kill her, and I knew she was a junkie. Okay. So I told her, tell you what, I can't do anything while the weather's bad, but if you will just wait until it stops sleeting, when the weather clears up, I will pick a day, I will drive you to the other side of Tennessee, drop you off, give you $4,000 cash. You go left, I go right, you don't come back no more. Stay the hell out of South Carolina. Get a new start, stay the hell away from me. Forget I exist. She gets all excited. You're really going to do that? Yes. If it costs me $4,000, I'm making almost $500,000 a year. $4,000 to make a problem go away is pocket change, not a problem. Just please go away. She gets excited. Long story short, tries to entice me to give her more money. I'm like, look, I'm going to give you $4,000. That's all I'm going to give you. You don't have to do a damn thing for it. Just forget I exist. So we move forward. Christmas morning, I spent it with my girlfriend and her daughter, and then I decided that I need to go out to the land to check on Megan. So I went and stopped by, got some more food, got some more cigarettes, went to the gas station, got her some more cigarettes, got her some food, and went on out there. As soon as I get to the shipping container, there is smoke coming out of the building. She lit the damn building on fire. That building has 200,000 rounds of ammunition, unbelievable amount of supplies, and enough guns to start a small war. I do not need that building on fire at all. Such the wrong building. I opened the front doors, and I thought she was dead. She had, as far as her chain would let her go, it was just some chain I had laying around the building, I mean, for various projects. It had nothing to do with me holding anybody. But it was attached to her ankle. She had pushed over all the shelves, taken her lighter for her cigarettes, and she had lit toilet paper on fire and lit all of her bedding on fire and was sitting there in the middle of all this smoke, grinning and laughing. She thought it was just the best fun ever to start a fire. And all around her is military-grade ammunition in pallets. Holy shit. So I turned my tack light on my pistol so I could see through the smoke, and I went in the building, and she's just sitting there. She thinks it's funny. Holy shit. And I'm like, honey, what the hell did you do? She just grins. I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. So I left her there, went outside, and I'm holding, once again, my shotgun. I don't like locks, but I had bought a bunch of them, and I had them laying around the place because I was playing with them. I've got, once again, Glock 22, coastal suppressor on it. I'm standing there in the rain thinking, what in the hell am I going to do with you? You just aren't going to comply. You just try to light a building on fire with 200,000 rounds of ammo. Oh, no, you broke security here. I can't manage this. You got to go. So I went ahead, pulled the slide back on the weapon to put around the chamber, went back in the storage building, unhandcuffed her, and went to bring her on out the building. And in between the storage container and my shed, my green shed to the left, she went to walk between the buildings. And she goes to walk between the buildings, smiling like she was on her way to the mall, turns around, looks at me, smiles, comes back towards me, then turns back around to go back towards the garage. At which point I brought the pistol up and I put a 180 grain hydroshock to the back of her head. She basically dropped like if you had cut the strings on a puppet.
And she dropped, and did you bury her where her Johnny was?
About 20 feet to the left. I took the tractor out in the sleet, dug it, because I had not dug her a grave. I had not intended to shoot her at all. Went ahead and dug the grave, put her in it, went back in the building, got her cigarettes, got her pizza, got her Dr. Pepper, and her honey buns, and I threw all of that in the grave with her. I figured, you wanted it, you want it, take it with you. I bought it for you. It's yours. I sure as hell don't want it, so I threw it in the grave with her, covered her up, made sure the area I covered with crushed red peppers and all, so that it would go in the ground. It diffuses cadaver dogs, and cleaned up the scene, let the room air out, and then I went back home. My girlfriend was mad because she thought I had left to go spend time with my mistress.
Okay.
But I came back, I came back smelling like smoke and covered in mud, and she knows damn well I wasn't hanging with another woman covered in mud, smelling like smoke. But she was still pissed I left Christmas Day. So that was the end of Megan.
So that's the end of that, Todd. Then 8 months go by, and you have an interaction now with Charlie Carver and Kayla Brown. Make that story really quick. How do you get with them, and how does Charlie end up dead?
I had known Kayla for about 5 or 6 years. She used to be a stripper at the Trophy Club in Greenville. She was dating and living with Dustin Lawson, who was my partner, who helped me get the guns.
Okay.
That was his girlfriend. That's how I got introduced.
Okay.
Later on, she became a prostitute. And was selling to my clients when I had international clients coming from out of country, and their wives were back in Germany when they were buying commercial property, and I would send work her way. She was selling it, and I was also, it was a novelty, so I was buying sex from her as well. I had given her several jobs, but most of the jobs that I gave her was her on her back. I did give her a job cleaning one house. She did a horrible job, and I didn't want to do house cleaning anymore. She was dating Charlie. Was already in the process of leaving Charlie. She constantly has a new fiance with two guys, in the bleachers waiting to step in. As soon as that guy does not give her what she wants, she dumps him and picks up somebody else. She had offered to be my mistress full time, and I told her no. I would rather just have the hourly rate, and let's just keep it the way it is. I gave her a job to go out there with Carver. She could bring anybody she wanted to, but she wanted to bring him, and I gave her a clean job of pruning my trees so I could drive my tractor underneath them. Anything 10 feet and below, just cut them down. And the job was to go out there and prune the trees. She had promised me that she was no longer using heroin and she was no longer doing drugs.
Okay.
That was a lie. Got her out to my land, gave her the 3-foot pruning shears, gave Charlie a 3-foot set of pruning shears, and was going in the building to get him bottled water to go. Because I couldn't stay there all day. I had to go back to the office. I got to go back to work. I'm going to tell you where to go, and I'll be back in a couple hours. When I came around the corner, they were talking around the corner of the building, right there where the garage door was at the gap, about stealing from me and then going and buying her some drugs. And I got pissed off, lost my cool about it. This was only 8 months after Johnny and Megan.
Right.
And about 20 feet away. Although this time they were outside the building, they were not inside the building. Johnny and Megan were inside the building. These two were outside. I got pissed, walked back in. Once again, got a suppressed Glock. Came out, shifted to the right, and I put 2 federal HSTs in Charlie's chest. And then when he hit the ground, I walked up on him and put a 3rd round through his chest, aiming straight down. So I shot him 3 times. Kayla never made a noise. Kayla didn't move. Kayla didn't make a noise. I came up behind her, calmly put my arm around her so she couldn't swing. She had the pruning shears, so she couldn't swing them, and so she couldn't move them, and then told her, drop the shears. She did. The only thing she asked me is, what are you doing? I told her, I need you to go in the building, lay down, cross your ankles, put your hands out. Same thing with Megan. Took her in there, handcuffed her, went back out there to check on Charlie, came back in, checked on her, and I jumped the gun. There was no reason for me to shoot Charlie. No reason. He wasn't armed. I mean, he might have stolen some little knickknacks. Around the property, but it wasn't worth killing the man over. I just jumped the gun because of the previous situation.
And then you just like you did Megan, you kept Kayla. It was kind of a same thing you did with Megan. You kept Kayla, but this time you had her for 2 months in that shipping container. During the nighttime, overnight, she stayed in the shipping container. I went to PetSmart, got her 2 doggy beds, the Great Dane sized doggy beds, got her a little a portable fan, a light, a clock. Every day I would come in the building, and I gave her a bunch of notepads, and she would write wish list of all the shit she wanted me to buy her: panties, bra, coloring books, different movies, different books. She wanted blue dye to dye her hair. She wanted all kinds of crazy stuff. Asked me for a vibrator, which I find funny how she accuses me 4 months later of rape. Since when does a rape victim want anything to do with sex? She requested a vibrator, not a dildo, and a stripper pole. And to prove it, if someone uses the Freedom of Information Act to pull the evidence files, the police department has that letter in her handwriting requesting this. So why
There's
did
a lot
you?
of stuff the media never got privy to.
Why did you keep her alive, Todd? I mean, it seems
What?
Why'd you keep her alive? I mean, you had a lot of trouble with Megan. Why did you keep her alive? It seems like you would have just got rid of Kayla and moved on. What made you keep her alive?
I don't like killing women. I made a huge mistake as a kid when I kidnapped and raped Christy, the girl out in Arizona. I made a huge mistake. I was hugely embarrassed about it. I never want to do it again. I promised I'd never do it again, and I didn't do it again. There was never rape with Kayla whatsoever. She informed me that I could have sex if I gave her Demerol or Percocet, which she ground up on the little DVD player I gave her. She ground it with a can, and she snorted it. And as long as I kept giving her pills, she kept wanting to get naked and get in my bed. And quite honestly, I'm a hypocrite. If you've got a pretty woman willing to get naked and open her legs, I'm going to give you pills until I run out of pills. I don't like killing women. I don't really like Kayla. I never did like Kayla, but I love sex.
Okay.
So, and her rates were very affordable.
So to kind of,
I want to kill her.
To kind of wrap it up, Go ahead. So to kind of wrap it up, Todd, you kept her for 2 months. Unfortunately, the police were finally onto you, which is you killed 2 people. You killed 3 people that were kind of close to you. I mean, like there's a connection, which is pretty ballsy on your part. Police are onto you. They come to your house. There's video of you in your foyer, out your front door. They cut the locks and they save Kayla out of the shipping container. And that all happens, I believe, on November 3rd, 2016. Is that the day you were arrested? November 3rd. When they're there, do you pretty much know the gig is up, Todd? It's over?
I knew it was up days before. The day that I shot Charlie, I took the phones to Greenville to get them off the ping. I made a mistake. I knew I had all the passwords on. I opened them up, looked at what was on the phone. All I had to do was use the address book and dial a couple of numbers so it would re-ping in Greenville and then throw it out the window. Instead, I jumped the gun. I broke the phones in half, broke both phones in half, and I threw them out the window on 85. I had forgotten to ping the damn phones. So I already knew that tie-in. I had screwed up that alibi.
So
they had left my land. So I knew I screwed it up.
Right.
I knew that I had just lowered my odds 50-50. Days before I got arrested, I was at my land when they flew a drone over my land. Okay. I knew the drone was there. I saw the cops in the SUV doing it. I just stayed in the tree line until they were gone. I just really, at that point, the smart move would have been is just go ahead and shoot Kayla, hide the evidence, clean the scene, and there would have been nothing here. Instead, I was tired and I just didn't feel like it. And my attitude was, fuck it. If they catch me, they catch me. If they don't, they don't. I'll roll the dice. Let's see. It's in their game plan.
But you knew
if they get the search warrant, you're going to find her.
Yeah, you knew the end was near.
I knew the end was near. I also knew that I really still didn't want to kill her.
Right.
I mean, the smart move would have been to kill her and remove the evidence. But I honestly just didn't feel like it. And I was willing to roll the dice, and it came down to basically, if you find her, you find her. If you don't, you don't. I'm willing to take the risk. Screw it. So I let her live. A day or two later, she told me that the helicopter, the sheriff had an 086, and they had flown all over my land for a couple hours looking for Charlie's car. So I knew the cops were overhead. Twice. I knew the end game was coming. Once again, I didn't feel like killing her, so I didn't.
And they have Charlie's vehicle.
When they came to my house that morning, Charlie's vehicle was at the back of the land, down a hill. I had driven it down a hill to where it was almost vertical because it went down a hill and hit a tree. So it's almost vertical. I had stained it with mahogany wood stain, so the whole thing was a brownish color. And then I put about 50, 60 cedar trees on top of it to where the helicopter, there was no way the helicopter was going to see that car. I mean, you could walk right by it, and if you're not really paying attention, you're not going to see the car. It was very well hidden.
So Todd, you are arrested. You confess to 7 murders. You get charged and convicted of 7 murders, and you go off to the South Carolina Department of Corrections. You had said multiple times there are more murders, that you killed more than 7 people. What do you think your number is?
Yes.
What is your number? Your
I have no idea. I have no idea. I didn't count. These were not trophies. These were not awards. These were not a scoreboard. I wasn't looking to make a certain number. Mm-hmm. I don't know where Kayla got her comment about 100 plus. There's no 100 plus. I mean, there's a lot of bodies. They're all criminals. Nobody was missing them. Nobody was missing these people. Mm-hmm. I don't pick people randomly off the street. I'm not going to just all of a sudden get pissed off at you and kill you. If you're not majorly in my face and doing something, I'm going to walk right on by you and let you go. If you're by yourself, I'm usually going to let you go. I have a problem when it becomes groups. Once there's 2, 3, 4 people involved, you want to play the bully game? I can play that. When there's groups there, I tend to react much differently with groups than I do individuals. Well, individuals, I'll give a pass. Groups, I won't.
What states would these victims have been from, and what countries?
There's a fair amount, although the number is considerably lower in here in the United States, mostly in the eastern United States.
Okay.
And then there was quite a few for a very brief period of time. I made 5 trips to Juarez, Mexico, but I was with other people when we went. This was not a solo act. I had briefly had an association with other individuals. I was not the leader. I was not the people. Mm-hmm. I will not tell you the names. Mm-hmm. But in regard, there was others involved. We went across the border and we basically shot drug dealers, drug traffickers. Went in, shot them through the bodies, through the bodies, and threw the drugs in a ravine. Covered the ravine up with whatever was handy, and came back across the border.
What about
all of us are pilots? All of us are flying in there.
Well, what about the 2 guys, Todd, that you first talked about? You said we'll get back to that, and you actually kind of tried to tell the police about those 2 victims. They were your earlier victims.
Yes.
What happened with them? Did you have an interaction with them, and you shot both of them?
I did not shoot them. I stabbed them.
Okay.
Those were the first 2. I had, because of the sex offender website, I had a lot of people harassing me. They would print out off the website. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm 30 at this time. I'm 31 years old, 32. People kept in my apartment complex printing out the website photo and all the information of how I had done my crime. But the little part they didn't tell you is that I was 15 when this happened. When they printed it out, it makes you look like I had just done this at 30 years old, like I had just done this to a 14-year-old girl.
Right.
No, I was 15 at the time, and it was entirely, I mean, it's not right.
Right, I got you.
But it wasn't the picture they were portraying either. So my mom had told me at that time that I'm no longer in prison, that I need to contact law enforcement. So I did. Mm-hmm. My mom and her boyfriend at that time were at the house when the cops came out and talked to me at the apartment complex, mm-hmm. Hunt Club Apartments. And I told them what had happened. I was on the sex offender list, and I was being harassed, flyers on the walls, phone calls to my work, mm-hmm. A lot of threats. And he informed me in front of her that I had made this bed that I had caused what got me on the sex offender website. And his words were, deal with it. What do you mean, deal with it? Deal with it. You put yourself on the list, deal with it. Mm-hmm. Okay, not the reaction I expected. I went to my church. At that time, I was going to church, First Baptist Spartanburg. And I told the assistant pastor, Steve Wise, what had happened. And Steve Wise informed me that I should try another church. Whoa. Instead of trying to tell me how to deal with it, mm-hmm. they advised me to try another church. So I went to my grandfather, and I told my grandfather what happened. And he went in the bedroom, came back with little small envelopes, mm-hmm. Not the legal size, but the small envelopes, and he had cash in it. And he slid it across the armchair, looks at me, and goes, "Do what the officer told you to do. Deal with it." Message understood. Mm-hmm. So I went to the store and I bought four folding pocket knives and a whetstone, and I spent the whole night putting the edge on them that I wanted, not the edge that came from the factory. I put the edge I wanted on it, and I carry 4 pocket knives everywhere, 2 in my pockets, 2 small on my back. One night I went to go play pool, and I'm getting in my car in the parking lot, and the guy who lived above me was a reporter for the newspaper. He was having a poker night, which caused problems later on because I very quickly had 2 bodies in the front yard. 2 guys came at me, 2 white males, early 30s, don't know their names, don't know anything about them. One guy's maybe 165, 175 pounds, brown hair. The other guy's maybe 185, 195. I'm larger than either one of them.
What city? What city was that? Was that Spartanburg? Was that Spartanburg?
That was Spartanburg.
When was that?
That was Spartanburg.
What year was that?
Yes.
What year was that?
Early 2003.
So those guys should be missed, right?
This happened right around the same time. Oh, they're definitely missing somewhere. I have no idea where they came from. I don't know where their car was. I don't know anything about them. I had never seen them before in my life. I have no idea where they're from.
Okay.
They had wallets. I'm going to tell you, I didn't take their money. I I looked at the wallet and put it right back in their pocket. I mean, I know it's weird, but killing you doesn't bother me, but stealing from you does. So the wallets are in their back pocket. I did not take it.
Did you load the bodies up?
Came at me with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You load the bodies up and buried them?
They met me in the... No. The guys came at me in the parking lot. Bigger guy with a knife, smaller guy with a shop hammer. One of those little 12-inch, the claw hammers you have like in your kitchen drawer or a shop. I ended up stabbing the first guy. He went down. I slipped all over the place, made a hell of a mess. Got myself covered in blood, but I cut his femoral artery when he tried to kick me. The guy with the hammer ran away. I caught him by his hair, and then I stabbed him through his neck and cut his throat, pushing outward. Blood went all over the freaking place. Huge mess. The whole time I'm worried about this poker game upstairs that someone's going to come out and go smoking a cigarette, and I'm freaking hell out. So I go back in the apartment, a bunch of towels, got the shower curtain, and I wrapped the small guy in the shower curtain, and I put him in the trunk of my car. I took my comforter, and I wrapped the bigger guy. My car was a two-door car, and there was no way to use the back seat. It ain't going to happen. There's not enough room back there. 91 Acura Legend, 2-door, there's no room back there. So I lowered the seat down, the passenger side, and I put the bigger guy in the front beside me, and they kept going inside the apartment, getting buckets of water, pitchers of water to splash on all the blood so that people wouldn't come out and see all the blood. I'm covered in blood. I'm freaking, I've got blood all over me. I'm going, oh shit. So I'm trying to get cleaned up. And I had a weekend at Bernie's moment because I'm driving, get in the car, and I go to leave the apartment complex, and I get up there by I-26, pretty much right about where I found Megan 13 years later, 14 years later. But I turn around, and on 26, I could either go right towards all the bright lights of the city, or I could go left towards the darkness going on the way towards Columbia, which is where I am now. I went left. I had never been down there before. I had no idea where the exits were. I'm looking for a place to hide a body. I pull off on frontage roads, go down roads, looking for a bridge, looking for anywhere I could throw a body. Until you need to hide a body, you just don't realize how much stress is involved in hiding a body. I'm trying to hide them. Every time I saw a light, a headlight, I swore it was a cop. Every red light, I swore it had a traffic camera. The world was watching me. I mean, you're not in a good place. I went down a frontage road somewhere. I don't know where the hell I was. I know I was down 26, but I'm not entirely sure where the hell I was. Got on a frontage road, and the highway was to my left. And I turned around and saw the end of the road had a white and orange sign up that said, road ends, the little stake, the road end signs, the white wood. And in there, and I got the bodies out of the car, and I didn't bury anybody. I dragged them behind the sign, maybe 30, 40 feet. There was a depression in the ground, just natural depression. It's not a ravine. And all I did was throw the bodies in the depression and then push brush on top of them. That's all I did to them. There was no burying. They didn't even own a shovel.
Okay.
I threw the brush on top of them, and I left. Got home, took a shower, threw those clothes in the trash can. I didn't want to wear them no more. I was waiting any moment for the cops to show up at my front door and go, "We found 2 bodies, and your DNA is on them." And I had no idea somebody had seen me. My apartment was right next to the apartment of the cop who arrested me. There's a lot of irony in this stuff in my story. Tom Clark was the Tom Clark who arrested me. He was the courtesy officer at the apartment complex, and he lived in the building next to mine. So basically, this happened kind of in front of his apartment, in between mine and his.
Wow.
He never saw it. No one ever saw it. And as time went on, nobody said anything. There was eventually a report of 2 guys missing. They put a flyer up of 2 guys missing, but the 2 guys' faces they had on the flyer were not the guys that I had the interaction with.
Okay.
They didn't look the same at all. I don't know where these 2 guys came from.
So Todd, you are in prison. You've committed a mass murder. You've committed a serial killing spree. You're going to die in prison. You know this now. What would you like to say? What is your message from you to the world? Like, Todd, what do you have to say to people that are going to listen to this?
I really don't have anything to say. I've got no statement. I mean, I did what I felt I had to do at the time. I'm not going to rationalize and go, it's not my fault. It was my trigger finger, my choice. It's on me. I'm not going to blame my bad childhood. We all had bad childhoods. Some people were taught a little differently. Some had it worse. Some had it better. And I did what I did.
And with you, Todd, I'm in real estate too, and you were rolling, man. Do you ever think about that, man? I was rolling. I had a great house. I had a great business. I could be out there eating lobster Friday night. Do you think about that?
I do now that you brought it up. Thanks, bro. Way to go. I had a very good life. I flew planes. I bought whatever I wanted. I had multiple BMWs. I had a lot of women. I had a very good life. I was not compelled to kill. I had no need. I didn't keep any trophies. I didn't suddenly get up in the morning going, I can't wait to get my gun on. When problems arose, I solved them. I did not solve them the way you would prefer, but I had the more money I made, the more criminals I had that were trying to take it away from me. Early on, I had no money. I was not born with money, and they were just one thing after another. I was the aggressor in Juarez. I was not being attacked. I was the one who turned it around and became the attacker. So that was definitely different. On some of these cases, people came at me. Others, I went at them. There's no set pattern with me. I wasn't planning on having a pattern. I wasn't compelled to kill people. But when things came up and people wanted to act certain ways, I didn't hesitate.
Okay.
I'm scared like everybody else.
You were quick to resort to violence, and that would be your undoing.
The more violence you use, after a while, it becomes the only tool in the toolbox. Growing up, you have many tools. A lot of selection. Later on, you realize, you know what, that hammer solves a lot of problems, and everything became a nail. So when people would start, if I had not been caught, I would, every time I kill somebody, I swear up and down, I would never do it again. I would change my ways, try to find a way to resolve problems better. But I always ended up back in the same situation. And if I had been on the streets again, I will tell you, I would probably kill again. I'm not going to lie to everybody about it. I probably would. Somebody would try me. I made a lot of money. People thought they were playing little games. A middle-aged white guy with no tattoos, and people think I'm soft. No, not so much.
And are you remorseful?
I don't know how many bodies I have.
Are you remorseful for your crimes at all time?
No. Regret and remorse are not the same. I wished I had gone down a different path. I wish I had let things go. I should have walked away from the bike shop. I should have walked away from the bike shop and said, you know what, screw you guys, and let it go. I should have been the bigger person, and I wasn't. I should have let that one go. I am sorry that I shot Charlie. Screw Johnny. When I get to hell, I'm going to kill him again. So, to hell with Johnny. But as far as it goes with Charlie, I never should have shot that man. I should have, at the very most, fired him. I should have gone, you know what? Never mind. Yeah. Put the shears down. Go home. You're fired. That would have been an appropriate response. But I overreacted drastically. It was right there where I had shot Johnny. And with Johnny, I had hesitated. Because I really wasn't wanting to engage that. I had been murder-free, 12-step. I had been murder-free for quite a few years, and the rust came off very rapidly.
Yeah.
So the next situation with Charlie, I went the other direction,
right,
and I overreacted. I went from hesitation to overreaction.
So Todd, I hopefully you and I could do some more things together, maybe books or whatever. If you would call me this weekend, I'd like to talk to you about a couple things, and maybe we can solve a couple cold cases down the road. But call me this weekend so we can chat.
Marketing is the answer.
Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you more.
Cool. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Todd. I have interviewed a lot of serial killers who don't set out to kill people, but they're so angry that they can't control their anger. Delmas Colvin, the interstate strangler that I talked to, he's that way too. He didn't really set out to kill anybody one day, but he will kill you. And Todd Kohlhepp is the same way. It's about disrespecting. It's about having anger that you can't control, and the solution is to kill people. So Todd Kohlhepp, a mass murderer and a serial killer in the same person. I don't think there's anybody else that fits that category. And I hope you enjoyed the interview. God bless you guys. Be safe. Don't be a victim.